perfect. Perfect.
Oh, yeah, you have them apart. I gave this personal. Treasure it forever. Well, we
All right. We are live.
okay. So each
Testing.
encounter, you're going to get a card like this. We're gonna get two.
I don't think we need their sound. All right. Anyone who has joined, let me know if it sounds okay. We're going to get started with round one here in a second. We're going to have good old Jamie versus AJ. I'm taking over for AJ today, so he gets a chance to play. And starting in 2 weeks, we'll have a new meta, so definitely happy to just let people play their Briars and Oldhams for now, until we get into whatever the new meta looks like, which might still be Briars and Oldhams, but hopefully the meta is going to shake up in a couple of weeks. But for today, still pre-Outsiders meta. So probably not going to see any Rangers today. I know we have a Viserai, a Briar. I think we have 2 Oldhams and a Bravo. I believe we have 6 or 8 people, not 100% sure. But yeah, this should be a fun time. So we got Jamie over there on the right. Okay. We got a nice old Eclipse mat over there from the old Jam. So this is probably going to be a quick game, just a couple of fast heroes doing fast things. But I just wanted to get a non-Guardian non-Guardian game on, so that's what we got here. We've been doing some team testing. Hello. I muted tabletop audio.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay.
I had checked the stream, and I think it must have been like right when you, like before you clicked it,
Yes.
because I heard it.
You heard me over there?
No, I heard.
Oh, you heard yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, so we're gonna get started here in a second. So this is round one. I believe it's 3 rounds today. No cut, just then split to prizing, I believe. So this should be a nice casual week. Next week is Outsiders pre-release, which is fun. Thank you, James. I definitely like 100% agree. Like, if you're not streaming, what are you doing, you know? Thank you, James. Let me know if sound is off or anything. I feel like every time I stream, I either have the music way too loud, or there's something wrong with the bit rate, or I'm not loud enough, or I'm too loud. So let me know if there's anything off. But Viscerai, one of my favorite heroes, so this will be fun to watch. Interesting that he has chosen not Grasp, and he's going with Quill Hand. I feel like in this matchup, you just want to stop on hits. You don't care to pitch on their turn for AB, so both of them have an Arcane Barrier endgame. But AJ going for just the Quill Hand. Quill Hand is good in the fact that it cracks and gives you, is it 2 rune chance? Music is low, mic is fine. Don't hear any music though. Let's see if that's any better. Let me know that's too loud. Vexing Quill Hand, what does that give? Two rune chance. So if under a Mordred Tide, it's going to be 3 rune chance. So it is good for, of course, just having 2 to 3 damage on a piece of equipment. Also makes stuff like Rune Flash just immediately free. Stuff like the 3 for 6 that gets reduced by the number of rune chance you have free as well. So it is more damage, but I do think I would go for Grasp here just because there's so many things like Snatch, or times when you just want to stop the on hit from a Force of Nature. Things like that, where having 2 block from having a 2 block and then a 1 block is really good. We're gonna see the newest art for Snapdragon Scalers. This came out in the last set. I believe this is the oil slick version. So that's Snapdragon Scalers on AJ's side. Not choosing to be secretive about the equipment that he's showing to his opponent. Again, a pretty casual week. So Jamie can know that he has AB. Doesn't really change his game plan at all. Also, Viscerai basically just has the choice between Tunic and this. Oh man, I can't remember. I've been so focused on new cards that old card names have now escaped my brain. But this is the one that it's a 1 block battle worn, and then you can crack it as an action and give yourself 2 resources if you played a non-attack and attack. So it's essentially usually just does what Tunic does, just whenever you want to, gives yourself a resource to swing Thorn. But sometimes it does more than that. Sometimes it gives you 1 for an attack action, then Thorn, or 2 for like a CNC, which is kind of cool. Non-attack, attack with go again, CNC. So we'll see what that ends up getting used for. Most of the time I see it used as just a Tunic on demand. So the 2 resource actually doesn't come into play super often. It just ends up being just a 1 resource whenever you want it. But definitely a good card. Having a battle worn chess piece rather than a blade break one on Tunic, definitely useful again for those on hits. You can kind of just use that whenever, or if you know next turn you're going to want to use it, just block with it. Skullcap, interesting. I feel like a lot of people have just cut that from decks in favor of Providence. But in a matchup like this, where there's a good chance you're going to be lower at some point, they're probably just going to keep swapping who's lower. You're probably going to get full value out of that Skullcap, and you get to stop breakpoints twice. So definitely interesting. Viscerai sometimes does need to fix hands, like Rune Blades in general really like that capability because you have Rune Blade hands, also known as either the all attack or all non-attack hands. So, I mean, the worst version is just the all non-attack hands. Stuff like Deathly Duet definitely helps fix those bad hands, but not having Providence to be able to fix that is a little downside, but 3 life is better than 2 life. And we'll see AJ what he's able to block with that, and you know, what on hits it mattered for, because sometimes if you don't get full value out of Skullcap, you might as well have just played Providence. And then sometimes having a 1 block on equipment is the difference in someone taking tempo from you or not. So definitely one block on equipment does matter, and a lot of games come down to 1-to-1 or being at 1 life so you have an extra turn. So I think having an extra 1 block is good. So we'll see if it matters. Jamie not showing his equipment. I wonder if we'll see Thorn. I would say there's a 100% chance we see Thorn on Jamie's side as well. Just the best weapon in the game. I don't think there's a competition for it at all, actually. So Jamie's going to reveal Thorn. We'll probably see Providence. We'll probably see Tunic. We'll probably see Snapdragons and Grass. Yep. Cool. So that's actually the suite I would probably have used as Viscerai as well. But I can understand choosing Aether Ironweave, that's the name of that card, over Tunic in this matchup because you might get 3 turns on Tunic, but probably not more than that. So Ironweave in that case is just the same thing. So, okay, AJ is deciding to just go with Creepers instead of Snapdragons, which in Viscerai definitely much better. So that makes sense. You also get another 1 block. So that totally makes sense. Better Runeblade Hero this meta? It really depends. So I think we're going to enter a mid-range hit effect meta where mid-range is even more heightened than it is right now in this like Oldhim Icelander meta. So if that's the case, I think Viscerai might have an edge, just because you can do a good amount of stuff off of like 2 to 3 card hands. Like a great 2-card hand is like a blue and Rattlebones, like super strong turn. Briar does need multiple cards to do what she wants to do. So if there's a lot of disruption in this meta, Briar maybe gets worse, but Briar is also just insane. So it's really hard to know. Channel Mount Heroics Wilds, Premeditate's like a new card that's really, really good in Briar. Giving you a buff, and then also giving you a half of a lightning token, also giving you a Ponder to draw at the end of your turn to arsenal something. All of your cards in Briar are pretty good arsenal targets. We're going to see just a pitch for the Rune Chant. So that is one benefit of having AB. You don't just start at a lower life for no reason. So that is one benefit of having the Quill Hand here. And then we're just going to see block out the Coax. You definitely do not want to give Briar a free Quicken if you don't have to. So AJ having the first impactful turn is good. Always feels good to start with a Sonata, and we're going to pitch into it, have 1 floating. So we're going to reveal 4 cards here. Still one of my favorite cards in this game. There we go. We definitely... Oh, we're going to hit twice. Yo, let's go. Full value. 2 Arcane. Perfect. I hear AJ laughing. That feels great. From a Sonata standpoint, Sonata essentially said, like, it was a 2 cost that was a +1 that also did 2 Arcane. It's pretty wild. I think we got 2 blues though, so it's like not the best thing that could have happened here. We don't have Grasp to pitch into, which is also another downside of not having Grasp right now. You don't have just the outlet for pitch fodder. His hand does look pretty alright though. We do have a Swarming Gloomveil. We have 1 floating that's probably going to be used for Thorn. So I think we're going to see the Gloomveil. This is going to be just with the first mode. We're going to create 1 Rune Chant here. So it's 3 go again. Okay. And then I'm not sure what we're going to see here. We might see just play the Deathly Duet, because you can pitch an attack into it, get both modes, make a Rune Chant off this, make 2 Rune Chants off Deathly Duet, so you have 3 Rune Chants going into your next turn, and then Arsenal something. And you get to Arsenal Rattlebones, which is actually really good because we already have a Gloomveil in there that we've just played right now. So that is probably what I would do here, but we'll see if AJ agrees with me. You don't get Thorn this turn, which is definitely, of course, a downside. He could also break the combat chain here and just play the Rattlebones now, which is actually pretty good too. Interesting that he's going to do it now. I'm not sure what's in his grave, but... Okay, so we're going to go to 2 floating. We're going to get Assault. I feel like breaking the combat chain here was maybe better. Okay. So we're going to get the Blue Shrill. go to 2 resources. Blue Shrill here won't have go again. It is 5 damage, unless it's red, but it looks blue to me. So we're gonna make a rune chant off Viscerai. Correct. Make a rune chant off Vis. Yeah, it is blue. So I think breaking the combat chain, getting that Gloom Veil for 4 and then Thorning at the end is probably the best play here. But we'll see. If AJ agrees with me when I tell him that later on. Oh, okay. Never mind. This makes sense. So because Jamie took arcane damage, Rattlebones actually had go again. So this totally makes sense. Rattlebones gave him another action point essentially. So he goes from 1 action point to 2 action points. 1 action point used for Shrill, and then the other action point used for Thorn. So definitely good use of the text on Rattlebones. Flashing it in as an instant when you already have go again is really strong. We're going to end with a not great card in Arsenal. I think it was Amplify. It's not like the best thing you want there, but also ripping 2 cards while still doing 12. Really strong. This is what I mean. Viscerai just has a lot of tools where you can do a lot with not needing a ton of cards. I think that was like I mean, he had a 4-card hand, right? But he didn't need all of those cards. So we're going to go into Jamie's turn. He's on a 2-card hand plus Arsenal. Runic Reclamation is good. It's not going to get the full effect where it gets to pop a rune chant, create a rune chant for you, which is definitely a great use case for it. But it's still 7 damage. And then Jamie's going to get to Arsenal. AJ could just take this, go to 33. You're still ahead. You get a 5-card hand. Which might be what he does. Runeblade doesn't always have hands that like you're able to use everything. Sometimes it's frequent you can only use 2 cards, so it is a good sign that AJ's pretty confident in taking all 7 of that damage. Jamie's hand not looking amazing. Let's see what Vis can do here. I don't think that Arsenal's great, so it's unfortunate that isn't anything else. I do wonder why AJ just kept this hand. Oh, he has Become and I think Lead the Charge. So we have a lot of options here. We can discard an attack, get a non-attack in the form of... man, I cannot remember any old card names. What's the one that makes 4 rune chants? That one. Oh, he's just gonna pop it. I guess it makes your Arsenal better, but that is interesting. I feel like I would wait for a Mordred turn to pop this. I guess it just depends what value we're getting out of this right now. Goes to Grave. AJ's not a flipper. He is a play by the rules man, so equipment that is destroyed is going to Grave. If he plays if he wants to Gloomveil now... Okay, so we're gonna see Lead the Charge first. Yep. I think that's just to turn on Viscerai's ability. I don't think he has a 2 cost. He could Creepers this turn, which he might be doing. Okay, he does have a 2 cost, and it's a really good 2 cost in the form of Shrill. So he's actually not going to play this Become the Arknight. So this is going to be 7 go again, or technically not go again, technically gaining another action point off Lead the Charge, but 7 go again. 2 rune chants are popping from the Vexing. So he took it, Jimmy takes the 2, and then this is 7 physical, no on hit, which I think we're just going to take, go to 19, doesn't feel great. Make a rune chant off Viscerai, of course, because we've already played a non-attack, and then this is going to be full modes, I believe, on this Swarming, so you just take 5, and then Thorn for 5 more. Man, very fast game. I think the only way that Jamie steals back tempo is having a turn with draw effect triggers, or setting up a Channel Mount Heroic that gets value this turn and sticks around for another turn. I know he has the blue Earth card in hand. If his arsenal is anything good, like a Channel Mount, then this might be different, but this is looking very Vis favored very quickly. Blue pitch Earth card, 1 floating to play an Earth Lore. That might be a red Earth Lore Surge actually, so that's pretty good. Is this E-Strike go again? Because 5 plus 5 is 10, so 10 go again, then Thorn. Yep, and then Thorn gets him to... Ooh, okay. Yeah, I feel like if I'm Jamie, I just keep the Surge there so you have an attack for your next turn, but I think he just doesn't want to lose with that big of a deficit, so sure. 15 to 9. Good, great job in bringing some of this back. Jamie's hand is looking boo-boo. And AJ has a 5-card hand, which, being at 9, this might be death. So we're gonna lead the charge again. So next 2 cost gives us an action point. Oh, we have Revel. Now I remember that card, the name of that card. So we're actually gonna pitch this here. AJ should have blocked with his chess piece last turn, but it doesn't matter. I think Revel is going to seal this up. So Deathly Duet has the mode on right now where it's 2 for 4 that creates 2 rune chants behind it, Viscera creating another one, of course. This already has another action point because of Lead the Charge, so we don't need a Creepers here. We're just going to Revel and maybe play Arsenal. I think that's probably the most damage because the Arsenal will be free, the Amplify. So we block it fully with our armor. We're going to break the combat chain. We're going to play this Revel for 5 more rune chants. So we go to 8 rune chants. So it's 4 from itself, 1 from Viscerai, and then we already had 3. So 5 plus 3 is 8. So it's 6, 2 more. Using the good old Pokemon die. Then we are going to play the Amplify. Oh no. Do we? It doesn't matter. I literally heard him just say it doesn't matter. Which is true, it doesn't matter. Actually, it's actually better to do Thorn because it's 10 arcane damage, which Jamie cannot do anything about. So that was going to be our quick round 1. I hope you all enjoyed some spell slinging, hash slinging, slashing. We're going to get back to our be right back screen. And if you want games that are going to take longer, so you have more stuff to watch, definitely stay tuned. We're going to have at least an Ultim or 2 on in the next 2 rounds. Today is going to be a shorter day, so just 2 more rounds. I think it's 6 or 8 players, not 100% sure, but just a fun game of gaming, fun day of gaming, and yeah, we will be right back. Thanks for everyone who's been around so far, and definitely wait around for round 2. All right, welcome to round 2 here. Haven Games, Saturday Armory. For round 2, I'm keeping AJ on. This is not favoritism, I swear. We just have, I think our meta is 8 people with 3 Bravos, 2 Oldims, a Briar, a Viserai, and I forget the last one. So, all I have to say, there's a lot of Guardians and a lot of Guardian mirror matches happening, which is just the one thing I would prefer not to talk over. So, I might be following Jamie and AJ around today. So, AJ obviously won round 1, and Matt also won round 1. Matt was playing a Bravo mirror and took that with a good old Dom. So, we're going to see the Bravo versus the Viserai. This is an interesting matchup. AJ definitely needs to side in things like Sync Belows. A cool thing you can do with Viserai, which I saw AJ in his sideboard, he's playing Pummels. You can take out things like Sonata, put in Pummels, and then Guardians typically want to block Exact, and unless they have the Sync Below specifically at the right time, you can punish them by pummeling, so you get like hit effects from things like Mavrian Skies, and then also, of course, the pummel hit effect. So I think AJ might side those 3 in, we'll see. But also, too, there's just a lot of arcane, so stuff like Revel, Thorn is just going to do a lot of damage throughout this game. Ooh, hello Tom from the airport. Our chat isn't showing up in our window here, which is really sad. Why is it not showing up? Unfortunate. But hello Tom from the airport. Safe travels to you. We look forward to getting some games next week, and in Outsiders meta, definitely looking like a fun time. Lots of different Rangers are looking good. Definitely. Hi.
Sorry, would it be intrusive if I come in?
All right, we back. So, yeah, Tom, definitely excited for draft soon. Outsiders draft seeming really interesting. I like the different decision points that are going to happen there and the different hero options that are available. I feel like just face value Arachne seems super strong. Obviously, just built-in go again, as we saw with Chain. It's a really strong ability. It is only on stealth cards, I think, and those aren't necessarily very strong, but there are ones that give inertia and blood pox, which is pretty good. So yeah, we'll see what ends up being great and what decisions need to be made in that drafting scenario. We got our boy Evan hopping in. Yeah, I don't know where they are.
You didn't take them, right, Nick?
You know how much I love to steal minis.
Of course, man. Dude, I put them back here. I know it.
Alright, now I think we're back for real, and game just started, so it's fine. So far we've seen a sigil from Matt's side, and then we see from Viscerai's side just the old read the runes with the additional rune chant from Viscerai, which is great to just stock up 4 damage. We're going to see the good old dominate spinal immediately. Throwing a 2-block, not the best. Interesting that that's what he decided to do. So we're just going to read the runes. That is one of the best things you can do when you're under spinal. I would say alternatively like Deathly Duo or Assault is another great thing you can do. So we are just going to draw back up. That might have been a very 2-blocky hand. We're going to see what Matt can do. A lot of Bravo hands can just be like what we see over there on the right hand side right now, which is just like not great blue attacks and some sort of defensive card in like a Sink Below, or in this case a Sigil. So we're probably going to see, oh interesting, I thought we were just going to make a Surge Hammer Arsenal Sigil, but we are actually going to play a Dominated Buckling Blow, which I think is just 6 Dominate, so as long as AJ gives us a 3-block, he doesn't get crushed, and even then the crush effect isn't that bad. So like he gets a -1 on what? Skull Cap, Grasp probably. Yeah, I think you do Grasp. Yep, makes sense. Okay, and then we're going to Arsenal Sigil. AJ is behind, but we get a 5-card hand on Viscerai, which can definitely threaten a lot. Let's see what Matt draws into. It looks like he's got a Crippling. Is that 2 Cripplings? His hand is 2 blues and 2 Cripplings. If we're going to start with a Sonata, it is interesting that he kept those in. It's not terrible to keep in here, but in more defensive matchups, I think those can come out for the pummels that I know are in AJ's sideboard. Because with Tunic, obviously, like that's a great 2-card hand, or 3-card hand, 2-card in Arsenal, 3-card hand. So we do double hit. We've seen AJ play 2 Sonatas and hit twice for full effect, so definitely feels good. So AJ's gonna grab, I think those are 2 blues, which happened last time too. It's not ideal, but it's still fodder for our Grasp. It's fodder for like a discard effect like Become, and also those aren't the worst cards to play. I think Blue Duo's not great, but something like a Shrill for 5, not terrible, when we know we have an extra blue to work with this turn. So we have 1 floating, we know we have at least another blue for pitch. I don't know what else AJ has. He definitely has an Arsenal that he's been holding for a bit. Yeah, AJ loves the old pitch into Sonata, which I guess if you're on a lot of blues makes sense. It's pretty nice to hit twice. See a red Mavrian, so we've seen a lot of Mavrians already. This is going to trigger Viscerai's ability because we've already played a non-attack in Sonata this turn, so we got an 8 Rude Chance. So life deficit between them looks bad, but AJ has 8 damage floating, so it's definitely a close game. So we are going to play that blue Shrill, which is still great. We go to 2 floating here. Bravo not going to be making any Frostbites, we know that, so don't have to worry about our pitch curve really. So we have the hit effect from Sonata here, and we are going to create, or sorry, from Mavrian, and we are going to create 1 off Viscerai's ability. So this is 5, go again. 8 Arcane coming beforehand. If this hits, create 3 more Rune Chants. I doubt Matt is going to let this hit. Even just a 3-block and a piece of armor would make a ton of sense here, because you're not just blocking 5, of course, you're blocking essentially 8. So you definitely want to get that value off of your blocking cards here. So looks like that's really interesting. Okay, so we're gonna pitch our blues to stop the arcane, which sure, but now we give armor and a card to this, and then we just don't have a turn because the card we would be keeping is a crippling. So we might see him block depending on what else is next. We're going to Providence the Sigil. Sure. So we have a blue and crippling in hand now, so we could hammer Arsenal crippling. So Matt might just take whatever else comes this turn. Assault is good here, for sure. We're going to end the turn with 3 rune chance, and we get to swing for 4 and 1. There's no hit effect here. If only Mavrian said the next time an attack action hits, get those rune chance, the old plunder run mistake, which is why that card is banned. But we're going to see Matt take all of this. AJ ends his turn with 3 rune chance floating, which is great. Matt needs to put a counter on his... Oh no, he used his crown. So crown is dead. So from AJ's side, he only has to get through 6 more armor block. 2-2, 1-1. Oh, we're actually going to see him surge pitch. I'm not a Bravo player, but I feel like pitch hammer 4, get a crippling in Arsenal is maybe better, because you don't want AJ having tempo, and a crippling definitely takes some tempo for you, and now you're just kind of drawing 4 cards hoping for the best. I mean, there's definitely CNCs in the deck coming and 2 more spinals, but now 1 crippling is in graveyard and 1 is at the bottom of your deck. So as far as the cripplings are concerned, not coming anytime soon, but we do have those spinals, which are great into Vis. Deathly Duo helps get around a spinal, like giving us still a good value play, and we also have the CNCs like I just mentioned. So we're going to play a yellow Mavrian, and then are we going to see a good old classic good 3-card Vis hand? Exactly what we're going to see here. So there's that Deathly Duo. I think this is the +2 effect because you pitch an attack, so this is 6. Go again. We're going to make a rune chant off of Viserai. Essentially, Deathly Duo right now is just a yellow shrill that has other effects that are good. So red Deathly Duo essentially just replaces yellow shrill in most situations, in most decks for Viserai. So we're going to see a block here, which makes sense because you can cover it up perfectly. Yeah, Tom. I think someone asked earlier, like, what do I think is better this meta? As far as rune blades are concerned, Briar or Vis? I think the answer is Vis. And I think Vis in this meta in general is probably going to be good. You have a really good equipment suite as far as blocking is concerned. You have access to the best weapon in the game, and your 3-card hands are probably the best 3-card hands in the game. And then you also have some of the best 5-card hands in the game. So if you ever have a situation where you can keep those, like, pretty insane. So I think Viserai actually might just get some auxiliary benefit from just how his game plan is with a meta that is even more mid-range than ever before with so many hit effects, because Viserai is totally fine to give up 1 or 2 cards and still have a good turn. I even mentioned that, like, Viserai has some pretty great 2-card hands too, like a blue and a Rattlebones. So like Rattlebones grab the Swarming Gloomveil and then Thorn. Definitely like a pretty great 2-card hand there. So maybe Rattlebones just goes up to 3 if people weren't already playing 3 and they were playing 2. But yeah, I think in a mid-range meta, like, Viserai puts on a lot of pressure on 3-card hands. Like, you're essentially always swinging for 12, and if they're not blocking the first thing and it's like a red or yellow Mavrian, it's even more. So yeah, 7 plus 5 is 12 if it's a red Shrill, and any benefit you get from a Mavrian is even better. You also have things like you're already playing Lead the Charge, so your CNCs are like great because they're going to have Go again into a Thorn. Maybe even Pummel even has a higher consideration if you are doing a slower gameplay with like Tunic like we see here, and CNCs, or even just Pummel on any 2 cost is pretty good for taking some tempo, getting those on hits from stuff like Mavrian. We're going to see a pitch of a Gloomveil, which is super interesting. So we're going to... I wonder what the last card in hand is that he would prefer to Arsenal over Gloomveil. I can't tell what it is. Okay, so we're going to end the turn on the read the runes. We got the full block on the yellow Trill, which AJ is still playing, so sure. Card's still good. We're gonna see a Zealous. So this is 5 go again, probably into a Hammer Swing. So this is a 3 card 11, pretty great. 2 of which went into your deck, which is also good in longer games, of course. So Zealous Hammer, definitely not what you want to see here, but looks like AJ's pretty happy just to block, take 2. Still a pretty close game. AJ has 5 damage floating over there, and he's gotten through all of Matt's armor. So I think Matt might have been a little too quick on using all his armor block, because it's pretty early in the game, and now everything you have to give cards to if you don't want him to get value off of Mavrian. So we'll see if that matters. AJ still has a 3 card hand. He is 10 down, but again 5 floating, and AJ still has 4 armor block, whereas Matt has none. So definitely still an interesting game. We're gonna see the old double pitch Deathly Duet. So this is going to create 2 rune chants and swing for 6. So that hand wasn't amazing. AJ could have played the I do wonder if that's better, but maybe not. He could have played the Sonata, and even if you whiff, you can play Gloomveil Pitch for Thorn. And then if you hit, of course, even better, and you get a blue, even better. But we're just going to go for the value play, which is to get full effect out of Deathly Duet, and then swing for 11, of course, amazing. And then you're going to have 2 rune chants left over at the end of turn from Deathly Duet's effect. I really liked red Deathly Duet, even blue Deathly Duet, super good. Really big fan of this card from last set. And also to... Yeah, that is true that AJ just took the weapon when he didn't really need to. Arseling Sonata definitely would have made for a better turn upcoming, and you just keep your rune chants floating, so maybe not the best use of that hand. We are going to see the old 7 Dominate. If it hits, you're going to discard 2. We do have 4 block on armor, but we have to give up Creepers and Tunic to give a 3 block and those. We don't have a D-React, I don't think. Nope. You don't want to take 7 here. Being at 10 is not what you want. So you can give a 3 block, discard 2 Arsenal pass, and just hope Matt doesn't have any sort of tempo stealing or progressing abilities. Or yeah, I think AJ doesn't look like he has a good 2 card hand to be able to keep. So block 3, take 4, discard 2 of your choice, get an Arsenal of your choice, probably Arsenal that Mavrian. Ooh, I don't know. I feel like I'd be greedy and Arsenal the Mordred, which is might be what AJ does. No, he Arsenals the Mavrian. I think I would Arsenal the Mordred just because of where the game state is at currently. But we have seen a lot of Mavrians so far, so maybe we're running out of them and AJ wants to make sure he has one. So we're going to Tunic Arsenal pass here. AJ really isn't that far behind, even though that turn wasn't amazing for him. He's 7 behind, he has 2 damage floating, and still has 4 armor block, and Matt has none. So we're going to draw up. So this is why, you know, I would have gotten benefited, never punished, from keeping that Mordred Tide, because we did draw another Mavrian. So Mordred is just really helpful into these Guardians, because the arcane pings are just essentially getting doubled. So we'll see what AJ is able to do here. Matt does have a crippling, but unfortunately no way to dominate it. So we might see a pitch 7, just play it. So you keep tempo, or we see the, I don't know what his arsenal is. We just see a hammer and then sigil up to 23, which is still a good value play, because you're threatening 6, getting AJ down to 7, and then you're going to 23. So we'll see what Matt decides is best. This crippling is the last one we will probably see this game, so that is one thing to think about. One has been pitched, one has been blocked with. So we'll see what Matt decides to do. He's putting the sigil down. He unfortunately doesn't have a surge, or else he could just pitch 6 for this crippling. He doesn't have 3 blues, or else he could bravo it, dominate it. So we are going to see a surge, keep 2 floating. He did have C and C. Okay. So we have 1 floating. So as AJ, you really just have to hope he doesn't have the pummel. You cannot play around the pummel here. I don't think you can give this 10 block. And I also don't think that... Yeah. You can afford to let him keep a pummel anyways. So AJ does let him pop that red Mavrian. Again, he did draw one, so also keeping what he kept last turn didn't matter anyways because he got it popped. So AJ's at 7, Matt is at 23. I believe Matt arsenaled the crippling. So this turn he's going to have the surge and crippling, so we might see that played. He also has a CNC, so you can just 2-card hand CNC AJ. Really depends what AJ does here. He does have a sink below, so AJ getting that into arsenal will be good if Matt goes the crippling route. If he goes the CNC route, not so much. So we'll see what AJ can threaten, because one of the cards in his hand isn't an attacking card. So we're going to play blue Mauve, then we're going to play Gloom Veil, then we will use our last card to Thorn. So if Matt lets us hit, we're actually going to get 1 more rune chant, so we'll see. Yeah, Matt just took everything. I think Matt just thinks that Dominate Crippling will win him the game, or take enough tempo to where he just wins from there. So yeah, Matt is going to take everything. Alright, 7 to 12. AJ getting a sink in arsenal is definitely huge. Matt probably thinks AJ doesn't even have D-Reacts because you haven't seen one yet. So this will be interesting to see if we can get around this. So a 3 block from hand, 4 from arsenal, and then 3 from armor gets us around this. So we can actually keep Tunic alive and get around this. So that's great. Or we can just do 3 block from hand, sink below, and then take 3, go to 4. Might also be the place. You can keep your armor. Being at 4 is scary, but again, you still have your armor. So you're definitely blocking 7 here, just at least. Oh, does he have double sync? He does. Looks like he has the Revel, which he's going to sync because he's not going to be able to use it. We got to become the Arc Knight, I think, so that opens up some interesting things. And then we just double sync below. So we're going to take 3 here. Or sorry, you have to block 8 to not get crushed. So yeah, it had to be a 3 block sync and a 1 piece of armor, or just double sync like we saw there. So definitely favorable for AJ to be able to keep all of his armor. Let's see what AJ's 3-card hand allows him to do. Yeah, that was definitely great. So we start with the Sonata. We are pitching into it yet again. Is AJ going to be 3 for 3, just the luckiest Runeblade player in the world? Attack. Attack. Is this non-attack? Oh my gosh. Lightning cannot strike twice, unfortunately. Are we just going to take a blue, or are we going to take the Spellblade? Or I guess right, lightning can't strike 3 times, but still great. I think we're going to take the blue. I don't know what AJ's hand is. I thought it was Become, but I could be wrong. So we've played a non-attack. If we... I mean, we have to attack and then Thorn, so... You could get... What? Okay, so he wants a blue here. Yeah, I can't tell what his hand is. That definitely matters here. I think he's just deciding between the blues, but if that's the case, then you just take Assault, because either blue is fine if it's your pitch card. So I wonder what his thought process is here. So we are maybe going to just take the Assault, and then that's going to be our turn. We have 1 float, and we can Tunic, play Assault, make 3 rune chants, swing for 4, arsenal something. I don't know what that card is in AJ's hand. Definitely a fine turn. Essentially 2-card 7, or I guess 2-card 8, because the 1 arcane from Sonata. And then if we do this play where we play the assault and we make 3, Matt's floating 2 do nothing. So I think that's what AJ is going to do, use Tunic to play this. I'm not sure what that last card is. If it's Become, it's a fine Arsenal target. If it's, I don't know what it is. If it's Mordred, great Arsenal target. Yeah, we're just going to play the assault. So Matt gets a little bit punished for pitching a whole card to stop 1 damage here. So we actually are just going to take it. I don't know what's in Matt's hand, but must be good enough for him to want to go to 8. Because AJ still has a sinking deck. That could have been what he arsenaled as far as Matt's concerned. And he still has 4 block on armor. AJ is still lower, so that skull cap is going to get that additional value here. I wonder why Matt didn't block. I can't tell what's in his hand. It looks like 2 blue guardian attacks, and is that Buckle? I don't know what that top card is. I don't think Buckle is really worth playing outside of a game ender, I guess. Oh, it's Terra Sunder. Terra Sunder Hammer is good, but again, we can completely block this with a 3 block and our remaining armor, which at this point in the game, I think is fine to blow all of your armor. Probably aren't getting another Tunic turn. Your creepers haven't done anything yet. They probably won't still do anything. Matt's been pitching consistently for Arcane. So 3 block, all armor is probably the play. And that actually might be good enough for AJ to take this game. If he's able to have a 3 card 12 with the 3 he's already floating, plus he has an arsenal, which that could be anything, might be good enough. But the 3 block that he has to give here might be like his only attack, which if that's the case, pretty boo-boo. So we'll see what AJ decides here, but 7 Dominate is totally fine for AJ here, and Bravo doesn't end up with an arsenal. The decision really is what 3 block are you giving and all of your armor. You can't allow Matt to let you discard or hit it all here. You have to cover all of this up. Terra Sunder is a pretty absurd card. It's not great value in terms of how many cards are needed to do this per damage, but pretty great. Yeah, our boys need to tighten up some lines a little bit. I know AJ said he's playing this today, and he wasn't, super practiced on Vis at all. There were some plays earlier that I think he could have done in round 1 a little bit differently too, but we do get around it. We give everything as far as armor is concerned. So hopefully AJ's 4 card hand, 3 cards hand, 1 arsenal is good enough to take tempo here. I would assume so, because I saw a Mavrian. Is that Become? If it's Become, no, it's... Oh man, this card's not great. A 2-cost 1 buff that creates a rune chant. This isn't even in many lists anymore. I forget the name of this card. Oh, he did put the pummels in. Oh no! That is really not what you want to see. Not even lethal, unfortunately. Oath of the Arc-Knight is the name of that card. Yeah, Oath not great. It is a 3-block non-attack that at the end of the game is okay in some situations, because it does split damage. It gives a 1 buff and a 1 rune chant. But here, not amazing. Not what we wanted to see. Unfortunately, that pummel's not going to do anything. If AJ had been able to keep Pummel Shrill, obviously this is super different. But yeah, it just looks like he had to give up his 1 attack for the block on that. And then this 3-block Oath was in his arsenal. I do wonder if last turn he could have just done something differently to not end up with Oath and Arsenal, but here we are. So unfortunately AJ is not able to steal tempo. It looks like Matt's hand though is just those 4 blues, so the all blue Guardian hand. So if that's the case, and then the crackback is just, it was a Spinal too. But if the crackback is just Hammer, AJ can go to 1 and hopefully just win on his turn, giving a card to the Hammer, which this is what we're going to see here. The one scary thing is Pummel's a reality here. Again, something I don't think you can play around. We haven't seen a Pummel. We saw blue Pummels for Matt. I haven't seen any red Pummels for him, so I just wonder if he's not on them. AJ has seen, I think, every copy of Maverian Skies available in the entire game. He has 2 in his hand right now. We saw like 5 earlier. Yeah, his hand doesn't look amazing. I think it's like Deathly, Duet, Maverian. Hopefully he has a blue so we can give up a 3 block here, go to 1, and then threaten the 12 damage. We'll really see. AJ needs to be able to take tempo here. Or you cover this up and just swing Deathly Duo or Deathly Duet if he's able to do that. The one downside about just Rune Blades in general is the 2 blocks. Briar, of course, gets around that with the Earth token. But in general, only your attack actions are blocking for 3. There are, of course, the Mordred Tides of the world that do more. But yeah, this is a weird decision for AJ. He has 2 3 blocks in hand. Is he just going to block 6 here? I don't know what his arsenal is. Block 6 is okay as long as you can rip cards from Matt. Is this a... I don't know what's happening here. Is this a... Oh, he's playing around the pummel. Yeah, he doesn't want to die to pummel. So he is over blocking. I think he's blocking 8. So even if he's pummeled, he just goes to 2. Which, yeah, it was the red pummel. So AJ does play around it and is benefited from doing so, but the benefit might just be that you die next turn instead of this turn. So we're going to Grasp and pass, or sorry, Grasp and Thorn, which is 3 damage. The one nice thing, another nice thing about Thorn, outside of it just being insane, is that a blue is 3 damage. Even if that's your only card in hand, and it's split damage too. So we'll see what Matt does to this. He could take it all and come back with something dominated and try to win. It's possible that AJ's arsenal is that last D-React as far as Matt's concerned, so maybe he doesn't try to play towards that. But I think you almost certainly give the Thorn a card. I mean, if your hand's all just blues, I can't tell what Matt's hand is. If it's just blue bad guardian attacks, you could just pitch, block, hammer again for 6. AJ now has to give 2 cards to your hammer, and probably 2 attacks at that too. If he gives a non-attack and an attack, then he goes to 1, even just better for you. Wow. I couldn't tell if one of those cards in Matt's hand was a pummel. Oh, he's 2 pummels? Oh, the good old double pummel. Yeah, I think we're just going to see a hammer, pummel it, arsenal a pummel. But, yeah, I don't know if going to 1 was correct here. Because now if AJ is able to keep a blue, you have to then give 2 cards? Yeah, I don't know about this. So that pops, and then what are you doing? You have to hammer pummel. And then arsenal pummel. That's really the only play here, I think. Because even a blue pummel is fine in arsenal. AJ can't keep playing around pummel and win this game. So... one important thing from both players is neither of them are playing white border cards, which is very unfortunate. Oh, we're surging, choke slamming. Absolutely not what I thought was going to happen here. I didn't realize the other Guardian attack in his hand was red, so if his hand is red pummel, blue, red attack, sure. Yeah, I'm not sure though, because if AJ does have the last D-React, ooh, AJ takes 1, but if he keeps a blue, Matt does go down to a 2-card hand. This is an interesting finish here. Actually, I'm not sure who's going to win this. Matt arsenaling a pummel probably means he just wins with hammer pummel with AJ at 1 here. Sonata is good. Oof, please don't whiff. Ugh. Yeah, that... is the downside of Sonata, is when it whiffs, it essentially was just a neg 1 pass. If it hits here, though, it's an Arcane and then Grasp Thorn, which is good, of course. If you get a Gloom Veil, yeah, even then you can't Thorn. So I don't know what AJ's Arsenal is. It's just been sitting there for a few turns now. So Matt gets to keep a 4-card hand. His hand has an Unmovable and a Sink, though. So yeah, this is going to be the... Is that an Oasis as well? That's hilarious. You cannot play around Pummel here, and then you die to Pummel. Unless you drew the last Sink Below. He did draw the last Sink Below. The game is still gonna go on, and for AJ, if he's keeping track, that is 2 Pummels played and 1 at the bottom of Matt's deck, as far as the red ones are concerned. Yeah, this is interesting. If AJ kept a blue, then he is keeping Matt on 2-card hands, a 2-card hand. Ooh, Matt's gonna Arsenal a Sink Below, which isn't doing much. So we are going to blue Runechant Sword. We're essentially just trading. You give me 2 cards, 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 until one of them draws an out to this. I would say Matt has a better chance of winning in the you give me 2 cards, you give me 2 cards situation, because AJ has so many 2 blocks in his deck. So at one point it's going to be you know, AJ having to keep giving 3 cards, but if AJ does get to keep 2 cards in hand and whatever his arsenal is, if it's a good 3-card hand, I think AJ just wins. I know Matt has an Oasis in hand and then a Sink in Arsenal and a Sink in hand too. Or maybe the Oasis is in Arsenal, I'm not sure. I think I saw one. Oh, we're pitching and sinking this. You have 2 blues, so you definitely just swing Hammer again. Yeah, so AJ is passing here. If Matt just swings Hammer and AJ doesn't try to respect a Pummel in Arsenal, then AJ can have a 3-card hand potentially, which if it's Mauvri in blue and that's an attack in Arsenal that costs 2, AJ probably wins. Oh no, he definitely wins. Any Thorn activation wins here, as long as Matt doesn't have Oasis, which might be what he arsenaled, which would be huge here. It's not going to get the heal, but it would stop everything coming from a Thorn. So we're going to see AJ looking through the grave for Pummels. We know there's at least 2 reds in there. AJ hopefully remembers that 1 red was pitched to the bottom. We saw a blue pitch to the bottom as well, so I think the only threats here are 2 blue Pummels. I'm pretty sure that's not what's in Arsenal right now. I think it's Oasis. So we are going to give 2 3 blocks here. At a certain point, you can't just keep playing around Razor, Pummel, right? Like, you have to play towards actually winning the game, because this constant blocking game plan is going to be in Guardian's favor. But again, if AJ can give up 2 3 blocks and keep a usable hand, he probably will win. It is unfortunate he had to give up Tunic, because at this point there would be that resource from Tunic that's available. But we'll see what AJ decides to do here. I think he sees another Mauvrian in hand. I know AJ's deck is pretty thin. If we even get a 2-card hand that's like blue Rattlebones, pretty great. I do see this round's on me in hand. Block 6, okay. That was a blue shrill and something else, that block 3. Let's see what AJ can do with a 2-card hand. So do you pitch? So I think you pitch blue, become play, this round's on me. Both of you draw a card. 2 floating. And then, did you just draw a Revel? Not what you want to see here. What is your arsenal, AJ? How can it possibly not be a 2-cost attack? Is it a Revel in Arsenal? If so, you definitely pitch the one in hand for this. Yep. So unfortunately, AJ was not able to capitalize on hoping for a better draw. I don't think we're on cycle yet, so we can't really punish him or say much about that. But now Matt gets a 3-card hand, which is probably good enough for Bravo, Dominate, swing just a bad Guardian attack, and then AJ dies. Oh, that's definitely what's going to happen here. Wait, what? Okay. I think surely Bravo, Dominate, swing, the disable is correct, but yeah, because you know all 3 sinks are gone. How is this hammer for 5? Oh, because of this round's on me. Okay. This does benefit AJ in that he can give a 2-block and a 3-block now, which is kind of hilarious. So AJ is still respecting Pummel. Okay. Doesn't get punished for giving Matt the extra card, but I think surely some combination of Guardian attack Pummel is the win con there, but I guess Matt can just do that now because AJ didn't have a blue. I guess he had to block with his other blue. Yeah, this is not not the best finish, not what we want to see. Bravo's Arsenal is essentially just blocked from existence right now because it's some sort of defensive card. Yeah, give him the juicer, AJ. We block with Pummel because we have Bravo, right? Yep, okay. And there it is. Good game. Not ideal for AJ. Oh, AJ had a Pummel in Arsenal. Yeah, I think putting in the Pummels was correct. He just unfortunately saw them at just the worst times. But yeah, AJ, I think, could have just played a little bit differently earlier in the value plays that he made, and Matt probably could have won this game a little bit earlier than he did, but he ends up taking it. So a good game to both players. We have a lot of Guardians here, so next round is probably going to be something versus Guardian. I'm going to try to avoid Guardian versus Guardian because there's like Oldham v Oldham, Oldham v Bravo, Bravo v Bravo is just like 10 minutes of getting each other down to single digits and then 25 minutes of who can win when we're in single digits, so I would rather not watch that if possible. So we're going to go into round 3, which is actually going to be our last round, so look forward to that. Definitely stick around. Yeah, Pummel and Vis maybe only is for Oldham and Icelander. If AJ was on CNCs, I would say maybe was worth bringing in here, but I don't think AJ has CNCs in his deck. Because CNC Pummel against Bravo is, of course, very good. But yeah, I think AJ played well, and he's definitely not super practiced on Viserai, so if this does become the pick for Pro Tour Outsiders meta, then definitely we'll want to see what optimizations we put into this deck. But yeah, that is going to be our round 2. AJ goes to 1-1, Matt will be 2-0, and then we will be right back with our round 3. Thank you for everyone who's watching so far, and we will be back shortly. welcome to round 3, everyone. Our final round for today. We have a very special guest on stream right now. The gamer on the left-hand side is none other than the owner of the Haven Games, Matthew Heffelfinger, also known as the what is his nickname? The Finger Blaster. He hasn't played Fab in a long time, especially in an Armory, and so it's really cool that he was able to play today. He wanted to make it so we had an even 8 players. We had 7, so he gets to join us. He's actually using Evan's deck, good old Oldham, and we get to see an Oldham versus Briar, Jamie on the right hand side, who we saw in round 1. So we've at least not had to do the old Guardian v Guardian situationship on the stream today. So we've gotten to see Briar versus Vis versus Bravo, and now Oldham versus Briar. So nice diversity in our just 3-round Armory today. Next week we'll be CC again on Saturday, which will be the last week before Outsiders meta. Next week being pre-release. Pre-release here is going to be on Friday, then Saturday will be Armory again. So next week will be the last time we get to see this meta, which is definitely very Oldham, Briar dominant, I would say. And then we'll see in the upcoming meta where I'm not sure what place aggro has, I'm not sure what place Briar has. I think Vis has a place, I think Dash has a place, Oldham definitely has a place, Icelander does. Some combination of Riptide and Azalea and Lexi will. I'm not sure which comes ahead in the Ranger race. I think Riptide is really good value, but I'm not sure what your Wizard game plan is. Whereas with Lexi and Azalea, of course, you just have so much pressure. But I think into a diverse meta, Riptide might have just the most play because of, the value you get off traps is definitely very high. Not only are they damaged typically if they trigger, but you just naturally play a lot of D-reacts. So you're getting around a lot of damage, hit effects, reactions, and then you're also able to disrupt with your traps too. Things like, I don't know if people will play it, but the tripwire trap can be disruptive. Of course, boulder trap is amazing. The legendary traps all do some interesting things, so we'll see what place the Rangers have. We've been testing some Riptide and some Azalea recently. Azalea feels great when you're playing into a any sort of aggro deck, like Azalea Lexi, Azalea into Katsu, Azalea into Briar. If you can just get those dominated arrows where you're leaking a bunch of damage, especially with things like Toxicity, which is just a 0 for 5 on dominate arrows, which is going to hit, is a lot. If that arrow is also giving a Blood Rot Pox, like, the damage can add up fast, which I think was the thing that Azalea was missing, because you of course would have dominate hit effects before, but if you're not doing enough damage and you just whiff a dominate arrow or an impactful arrow on a turn, then you've lost that tempo in the game. So we'll see what Ranger comes out on top and what this meta looks like. I think more than ever, mid-range is going to be kind of the prevailing strategy, and so we'll see which mid-range strategy heroes can come up to the top in that, and if things like Ninja have a place, or if Ninja strategy needs to be like just those 2-card hands where you're Kodachi, take the tempo, Kodachi, 3-card hand, which is like leg tap, threatening Mask, and threatening Katsu. Even if it doesn't hit, maybe I have the other piece in my hand, so ninjas could still have a place with a more mid-range style. Control Katsu is absolutely a thing and is not bad, so we'll see what ends up happening in the upcoming meta. I'm excited to have new cards to play with. I'm excited for Ranger to finally be a thing that's in the meta, because I think for sure certainly Ranger is going to be in the meta in some capacity. We just don't know exactly in what way yet. We still, of course, have these contenders like Oldham we have on the left-hand side and Icelander, which don't change in being great. I think inertia tokens hurt both of them. Not enough for them not to be good enough, and also inertia typically happens from hit effects outside of the codexes, I believe. So they might not be worried about those, but inertia definitely being a thing that impacts those decks for sure. Playing through frailty tokens also is obnoxious as something like Katsu. So we'll see what the next meta looks like. I think Dory is also looking fine. Oh, chat is working. I think CC Riptide is fire. Yeah, probably true. I've tested it a little bit and it's really fun. I tested into Oldham and that was a little bit difficult because they don't swing Titan's Fist at you. Your traps typically aren't triggering very often, and getting damage through can be difficult, but getting those pings of damage in from traps definitely feels amazing in that matchup. So I think Riptide just needs a game plan into things like Oldham and Icelander, and if it has play into those, then I think the deck is really good. Like we've seen already, Riptide has great value per card. I think Tom's mentioned like your hands having like 16 average value per hand. It's like over 4 value per card, which is amazing. So we will see what a Riptide deck looks like in its optimized form and all the different builds that maybe can be played, because of course we have a lot of different bow options, we have a lot of different trap options, so many arrows to choose from now. So on the right hand side here we're going to see Briar playing a Rabble, good old Rabble. We're going to reveal a red Bramble Spark, which is going to make it so we know we're drawing a red Bramble Spark, and this is going to be 4-go again, so just getting the -1. We're going to see the sink below, so we're just going to cover it up, and Matt's going to want to filter a card. So we are going to see Matt take nothing here. I know Matt's not super practiced in CC at the moment, and on Oldham either. So we might not see the most optimized game plan strategy here. It's totally fine. I'm just happy to have Matt on stream and playing the game again. Being a store owner, of course, you have other priorities that come into play, but he's made an amazing store here in the Haven, and it's cool to get him on stream and able to enjoy the game that really kind of ignited the fire, I think, between him and James to want to open a store. So we're going to see a Yellow Snatch, which this one Arcane might just get through, and then Oldham gets to swing back for 4 and Arsenal a card. But you're definitely giving at least a 3 block here. You could just block 3, prevent the Arcane and Arsenal, and then you just stay at 40 and give Briar another turn. We'll see what Matt decides to do here. Looks like he might go that route. But yeah, even average hands of 14 value on 4 cards is really good. Having over 3 value average per card is great, and the fact that the ceiling is even higher in a mid-range defensive deck is, of course, really good. So it's interesting to me that Matt decided to do what he did. I think it makes sense from the capacity that like the hit effect didn't matter too much, but I think if you can block 3 with a card, that maybe that's worth it. So I think we're just gonna see the old TF for 4, the old Titan's Fist for 4. Thank goodness that Winter's Wail is gone. That card was just too good. Pitching any blue to swing for 4, and if it's just a bad blue ice card, and also getting a hit effect for a Frostbite is insane for a 1-card hand, being able to attack for 4 and threaten some disruption. So I am happy that that card is gone, and we still have Titan's Fist, which is fine. Turns a card into 4 value, which is good, which we are seeing here. So Matt gets to Arsenal, he gets to swing for 4. Jamie looks like he's on Nimblism, Lightning Press, and I think he just doesn't have an Earth card. Yeah, E-Strike. So this totally makes sense. If we do Nimblism, E-Strike, Thorn, or I guess we can't do that. So I'm not sure what his arsenal is. So we're going to see the Nimblism. Nimblism, E-Strike 10 is also fine, which might be what we do here. 10 is a good amount of damage. Yep, that is what we're seeing. So Jamie just gets to hold on to his arsenal. Don't know what it is. I would assume it's a non-attack or an attack. And then we're going to swing for 10, which is significant. So Matt is going to... I thought for certain that Matt swung Titan's Fist and had an Arsenal, so I'm not sure where that card went. Or if he just kept it in hand and didn't Arsenal it. I'm not sure if he knows the Seeds agenda or not. So we might block 6, take 4 here. Or just block 9, take 1 Arsenal. We'll see what happens. Looks like it's a 6, take 4. I think Matt not being practiced on Oldham, you just kind of default to playing a sort of mid-range game plan where you're doing some damage, taking some damage. I think ideally in this matchup you're blocking everything that you can and kind of fatiguing the Briar to an extent. But it depends if this list is more aggressive. I haven't seen all the cards. We've seen a lot of blues, of course. I'm not sure if Evan is on like E-Strikes and those more aggressive cards. So we're just going to see another Titan's Fist for 4. We are keeping on parity with damage, so that's good. Matt is not arsenaling a card. Which I think you always do in Oldham, no matter what. So definitely a point of discussion we can have with Matt on if he wants to play Oldham, of course. So we do see the hit from Sonata. We're going to deal an arcane damage. We're going to get a yellow snatch. I wonder if Jamie's on the suite of snatches or if it's yellow and reds. I know people in like Phi will play blues and reds. Yellow and red makes sense. Stuff like a fused Force of Nature makes it a 4. So it's a breakpoint where a blue would be a 3. Ooh, we see the nice 1 card cut. I think the 1 ping of Arcane, we are going to end up stopping it. There might be more coming with the Thorn, so totally fine. It's unfortunate we don't have the Crown up and available to us. So we're going to flip the old E-Strike, another 4 go again Rabble. So after this Rabble, I know we have the yellow snatch. I'm not sure what Jamie has between his hand and Arsenal outside of that. So we'll see how much more Jamie's able to threaten here, but the Sonata hit, definitely great for him. We of course have Snapdragons, that's probably going to be saved for later or just when it gets the most value. I don't think that's going to be here, but we'll see. Oh, we are going to see the Stagelmeister block. So Stalagmite being a 2 block right now with Temper. We see the Cold Foil Frostbite, old Evan special, the Cold Foil Frostbite here. So Stalagmite is going to give a Frostbite, which this isn't the best time for it because you can of course respond with Tunic and just keep playing everything if you weren't intending to pitch. This might stop Thorn, but I think Stalagmite is best used when you know you're stopping damage. Like when it becomes a 6 block, a 5 block, I think is when it's best used. So we're going to see a 5 go again, then a Thorn, which totally makes sense to me. Since we played that Sonata, Thorn is online, so we got to do 9 damage so far plus 1 Arcane, so 10 damage plus 4 more from Thorn. We're going to get in our Earth token because this hit, and now we're going to swing our Thorn for 2 and 2. Yeah, the Stalagmite block there, I think knowing that the Briar drew a yellow off of the Sonata, also not the best time to use it, but we'll see what Matt wants to do here. I know, so we see that Matt has CNC Pummel, which makes sense why you would keep this. I think a disruptive strategy totally makes sense. You just take 3 here. You don't block this. Makes sense. So Stalagmite's going to get a counter. Craterfist's going to get a counter. And then we're just going to see pitch CNC, 1 floating, Tunic floating, which is just the scariest thing. I know people who get so mad at this, which is probably every person. CNC pummel, you get punished if you block 6, and you get punished if you block nothing. So we are going to see the crown, which does help, of course. This is like a good thing about Providence, of course, it's always a 2-block and always lets you filter, but another great thing about it is it essentially makes the first CNC do nothing. In this case, the pummel, of course, is still disruptive, but we don't need the blue earth card here. So Jamie just going to 24 and having a 4-card hand after a CNC pummel, still great. Every CNC moving forward, when Jamie has an arsenal, is going to be impactful in some capacity. Might even threaten to pummel again, but yeah, I think this is still an interesting game where we are keeping on track with life and the value that we're getting per turn. The one downside, of course, is that once Jamie sees a Channel Mount Heroic, that's going to change. So we're actually going to see CNC draw card, I would assume. Go again. Okay. So this is going to be 8 go again because of the nimblism, and then we're going to see Thorn afterwards. So makes sense. When you can get Thorn value, I think you should, especially because Matt has not been arsenaling a card, so he's only on AB1, so you're always going to get at least the 1 ping from the Arcane. So we're going to see 8 go again into Thorn. We see Cold Foil Creepers showing up on screen here. AJ was borrowing that today, so just giving it back to Jam. And Matt is going to block some of this. Take 2. Alright, get an Earth token and then Thorn for 2 and 2. Matt goes to 19, gets to swing for 4 in Arsenal, I would assume. I assume it's just going to be Titan's Fist and then an Arsenal card. I do hope Matt arsenals. Crown of Seeds has gotten no value this game, and it is definitely a great thing to have access to. I do feel bad for Jamie. We've gone through many turns and we've seen 0 Channel Mount Heroics. I would assume that's just been the day for him. Which I think Premeditate, which is a new card in the next set, makes Briar like even more a cool choice for to play in this next set. We just get a really good non-attack that is half of a lightning token, a +3 buff, as long as we're playing an attack from Arsenal, and then a Ponder. But Briar really is dependent on seeing 1 of a 3 of that you can't search, at least, and then also just hoping that you don't draw into unplayable hands, so you're not getting low value out of your cards. So having access to Thorn, of course, is great, but I think there are just other decks that are more consistent. Like something like Dorinthia, you're always swinging at least Sword, and as long as you have a Go Again card threatening a counter, no matter what else your hand is. So Briar definitely not known for its consistency, but definitely known for its ceiling. Of course, once you see Channel Mount Heroic, if you have a Force of Nature, stuff like that, your ceiling is probably the highest in the game. Like, we've definitely seen 30 plus damage Briar turns before, which not a lot of heroes can say they can do that. I would say like Bolton has that capacity, Lexi has that capacity, Katsu has that capacity, of course, with the cat line, the tiger line, but not too many heroes have the game plan that Briar has, and that it can do everything that it does without its Channel Mount Heroic, and then with its Channel Mount Heroic, of course, just increasing that ceiling exponentially. Channel Mount Heroic, definitely such an absurd card. We know that we're going to be drawing a Force of Nature next turn, which is good. So hopefully we can like play Force of Nature, fuse Channel Mount Heroic, pitch an Earth card, play Channel Mount Heroic, get a Lightning token, swing an attack that has a draw trigger on it. That's also a break point, and then also keep our Channel Mount around and swing Thorn. So this is an interesting Stalagmite block. You are Again, doing it while Jamie is on Tunic. So I don't think it's worth it. I think you want to play Stalagmite, like I said, when you are for sure stopping a certain amount of damage, 5 or 6 damage. So in this case, you ripped a Tunic counter, or when you're for sure ripping a card, right? If you have to make them pitch instead of getting an Arsenal here. In this case, you just ripped a Tunic counter, which isn't doing too much anyway, so Jamie has a really unfortunate hand of double scarred, double Force of Nature. And Scar is definitely not going to be online either, so I think you just block this, to be honest. You can block 8, swing for 4, and then hope for not a terrible hand next turn. Blocking with, or sorry, you can block for 10 here. So you block 4, 5, 6. I don't know what Jamie's arsenal is, so maybe this turn isn't as bad as I think it is, but double Scar doesn't feel too great right here. This is a 6 block, so Jamie will take 3, not be crushed. And we get to have a 4-card hand. Force of Nature will not be fused, but if your arsenal is another non-attack, it's fine. At least you get to Thorn this turn again. So we're going to Tunic, we're going to break our Earth token, which be sure to do it in that order, because if you break your Earth token and then try to tick up Tunic, your opponent can say you've already missed the window, because Tunic is at the start of turn and breaking your Earth token is at the start of your action phase. So if you are interested in playing Briar, definitely look out for that. So here we're going to see Jamie think about what he wants out of this relationship here. I think your arsenal has to be a non-attack for this to have been worth keeping and taking 3-4. Because you could have blocked everything, swung Scar, and then passed. Which isn't, of course, amazing, but is better than just doing the same thing here but taking damage. So no fuse, half of the lightning token. Do we have another non-attack? No, but we have lightning surge. Okay, so yeah, I think blocking with one of the Scars last turn was probably right, because oh, actually no, we're gonna pitch one of the Scars for Thorn. It's fine. So we get to do 4, go again, pitch a Scar, Thorn, arsenal a Scar. Not what you love to see off of a 4-card hand, but this works. You did 8 damage, and you got to arsenal a card. So, threatening 8 here when Oldham's at 14, totally fine. And you get a Scar for arsenal, which hopefully will be able to be played off a lightning token next turn. I do hope we get to see the old Channel Mount Heroic before this game is over. We unfortunately have not had the opportunity to see one yet, and even in Jamie's round 1 earlier today we did not see one, so I do hope for Jamie's benefit we can see at least one Channel Mount Heroic that gets to be played. Matt, thinking about what to do here, I would assume you either give this a 3-block, take 1, or you give your Creative Fist, or you pitch for Crown, so you don't take anything, you get him off of the Earth token, and then he's blocking for less next turn. So I think we are... Ooh, we're going to see the heal as well. So our first Crown effect this entire game. We're going to have 2 floating. So at this point... maybe you just swing one of the Scars instead. I'm not sure. Well, I think you still swing Thorn, because you definitely get a damage through, whereas the other way is not guaranteed. So this is still correct, even though Matt can AB one of the arcane damage. The Crown's already been used, so you can't stop both of it. So this is definitely right. Then we're just going to Arsenal a Scar as Jamie. Hopefully next turn that's going to be coming in for 7 go again because of a lightning token and a Channel Mount Heroic, which we gotta see one soon. We gotta see one. We're gonna take 1 here. No, Jamie is letting him know that you only have to take 1 because you have Arcane Barrier. This is also why you should keep track of your resources with dice, just so you remember, like, oh, I do have money available to me and I can pay for my Arcane Barrier. So somehow Jamie has not seen a Tiamat Heroic, and we are still not going to see one. Game's not over yet. Probably still have a couple more turns, so just hope we see one. Unless Jamie accidentally sided that card out. Oh, we're actually going to see a pass from Matt. That is very interesting to me. Jamie's hand seems pretty good. I think it's Force with an Earth card. And then, as long as we have another non-attack, we can get the Lightning token. I think it's fine to use our snaps this turn, because it gives us pretty good value. So we can play our... I don't know what that last card is, but we can at least play Snatch for 4. Ooh. Is it a this rounds? It is this rounds on me, so gonna let Oldham draw a card. Gonna get a Lightning token. Shouldn't have sided in the pummels. I would agree. I think if you're on CNC, I see more of a merit in it, but yeah. It was still a good round to watch. We appreciate everyone who's played today. We see that Jamie drew a Exude, I think, off of that this round's on me, which is pretty good. We'll have go again, and we'll stop instant, and we'll stop D-reacts if Matt is on one. But yes, onward and upward, as Tom says. We only get better from here. So I appreciate AJ playing today. So not only do I get the chance to commentate and watch some games, but we also had an even player count, which is great. So no one gets a bye or a round in a 3-round tournament where they don't get to play. So thanks to Matt and AJ for both playing today. And we're actually going to see the Scar with Go again. So we're going to 4 Go again here. Or sorry, 5 Go again with the hit effects. We could see the turn ended with like a pitched into Exude, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're going to see a Thorn. I don't know what else you would do here. I think we'll see a Runechant Thorn at the end of this turn and Arsenal the Exude, probably. To the moon. So this is 5 Go again if it hits draw a card. Matt does not want him to draw a card, so I think if we want value, we can just like Tunic, Crown, draw a card, give a card in gloves here to block all 5 with the Crown, or give a Sink Below and Crown to block this. I don't think you take this unless you want the game to end soon. Alright, so Jamie just letting him know, I am going to draw a card here. Are you sure you want to take that? And then Matt might be thinking, ooh, maybe not. So Matt is fine with that. Is that an Earth Amulet? I think that's an Earth Amulet. We have Earth Fuse this turn, so that's actually fine to play. Because it does threaten more damage here. But I think we're just going to Exude and pump it. We can pump it twice, I think. In hand we have 5 resources. We have 2 floating. So I think making a Runechant actually might have been right, unless Jamie wants to end up with an Arsenal here and doesn't want to pump this twice. Pumping it twice is essentially guaranteed damage because Oldham cannot instant or react if he doesn't block with an attack action card that's more than it here. I mean, even if he does, it has to be more than 8 attack to get around the effect, because Jamie could pump it twice. So I think Runechant double pump might have been right. Or wait, no, he has 5 in hand, so he's going to use 6 of that 7. So yeah, you can't Runechant here. But you can get it to 8, so we'll see what Jamie decides to do. This is almost lethal if Matt just says, I'm fine with taking this. And if I think you were going to block this turn, then you probably should have blocked the Scar for a Scar. This definitely puts Matt in a weird situation. And Jamie, if he had Tunic live, could have done Runechant double pump, which is cool as well. So let's see what Matt decides to do here. Not crowning is interesting to me because you can just see what more cards you have available to you, have a prevention effect available to you. And now it's too late to crown unless he does give this an attack that's more than 6 or 8, because Jamie is certainly pumping this. Let's see what Matt decides to do here. So I think Chokeslam is a 6 base. Is it? Yeah, I think it's a 6 base. It's a 4 for 6. We're blocking Xaxes. So during the defense step, there is an instant window where you can pump it, which would stop D-reacts from being available because we are not in the reaction phase yet. So I don't know if Jamie is explaining that yet or not. Or he just wasn't planning on pumping it again anyways. This makes sense. I just heard Matt go, ah. So we are going to Snapdragons here, and then we are going to Thorn. Which is fine. You get to keep a Snatch for next turn, a yellow Snatch for next turn. Yeah, so there are definitely a lot of options available to both players this turn, and this is where we are. So 4 damage coming in, 2 and 2. Matt seems like he wants to keep the cards he's keeping, the 1 in Arsenal and the 3 in hand, because he gave an armor and just 1 card. So I wonder if it's like a CNC pummel again, just because that does give a lot of serotonin to do that. Or if it's something like a Endless Winter fused, I'm not sure. So 2 and 2 coming in. Matt takes it, he goes to 5. Because he doesn't have anything floating because he earth reacted. So he goes to 5. Jamie gets to Arsenal. He is down snaps, but up on life. So 2 blue earth cards going to the bottom. Let's see if we see a Channel Mount Heroic, because certainly we are getting to the end of this game here. Alright, I am just convinced Jamie has sided that card out. Which he definitely hasn't. He's just gotten very unlucky. And here's the high serotonin play of CNC Pummel. I would assume the Pummel's in his arsenal. I don't know what card Matt would want to hold on to, other than just having an arsenal for next turn, or for Crown. But this is most certainly using Tunic for a Pummel from either hand or arsenal. So as Jamie, you know that's going to happen. You can't do too much about it. Blocking 10 here just means you don't have a turn. I just heard Matt say, what? I only have 1 resource. That is the fun part about Oldham, is this play is very consistently going to happen for you. So we are going to block for 6, not play around the pummel, and then if we get pummeled, we can actually still play a Coax a Commotion on our turn. Or Arsenal it, whatever we think is best value for us. So Tunic, break our Earth token, and then we might just Arsenal. Okay. I could see both being fine. So yeah, we're going to play the Coax. This gives Matt the ability to cycle with Crown and also just give a card and stop this, and then still have a, what is that, a 3-card hand. So we'll see what he decides on doing. Jamie's in a fine spot because he is so ahead on life, and Oldham is definitely not known for its high damage output on its turns. We haven't seen any E-strikes yet. We haven't seen any Zealous or anything like that. I think we might have seen a Rouse, but I doubt that's going to be something that happens this game. So let's see what Matt decides to do here. Sink below works too. So we are going to block 4 of 4, which is 0. Matt gets to keep a 4-card hand. I thought about sinking, then didn't do the sink. Jamie draws up into 2 blue earth cards. There's no way there's no CMH, right? Like, we are absolutely in half of our deck. Absolutely through half of our deck, so that's insane. Is that a Rouse? Oh, it's E-Strike. Okay, so the first E-Strike that we've seen. it is cool that Evan's build has the E-Strikes. This is like an old inclusion in Oldhim with Snapdragons, and in last current meta, it kind of got taken out for just the more fatigue Oldhim, mid-range, long game plan strategy, but E-Strike definitely is nice to be able to do 9 damage off of 3 cards, or to just swing for 7 and so like I mentioned, Matt hasn't played in a while. We saw the old the old I'm gonna try to pummel a 0 cost. I've seen people try to razor surging strikes before, so this is definitely not an uncommon thing to happen. But threatening 9 damage, still fine. Definitely fine. What? Imagine if you could pummel E-Strike. Oh man, imagine pummel didn't have like a cost restriction. I think every deck just plays it. That was so funny. I was gonna allow it, but Jamie did catch it. So I think we're gonna see pitch for Rune Chant or Takesy Backsy. Jamie's hand is pretty bad. It's 3 blue earth cards, I think, and then I don't know what the last card is. I do wonder why Jamie took all of that damage from last turn if your hand is that bad. I mean, you can play an Earthlore if you have an attack in hand. Certainly he has an attack, right? If that's a red Earthlore, then it's pretty fine. Is that Rites of Replenishment? I think it might be, because he wants to go to 2 here. Yeah, Rites of Replenishment fused. Means he gets to recycle an attack from his grave. Rites for 11? Pretty good. I like it. Cold Foil Amulet Flexin. I think you get to cycle any 2 cost or less attack. I'm actually not sure on this. Have not played it since draft format of Tales of Aria. But definitely good in against a deck like Oldhim, where you need to be recycling in case they go for that fatigue strategy, which isn't happening in this case, but I think for the most part would happen. So let's see what we decide to recycle here. It's going to be a Rabble. Totally makes sense. Great card. Really good into Guardians, threatening pretty much always 4 damage with Go Again. So this is going to be the turn. So it's 11 damage. Jamie gets to Arsenal a Go Again non-attack for next turn. That might actually come up as being impactful. Having a floating +1 reaction is nice, but only matters if you fuse in a turn. I do really hope we see Channel Mount Heroic at some point. Would be great to see the card that makes Briar good or great. So we're actually going to see is this a 9 block, take 2? Doesn't feel great. Okay. Matt has shown his hand in the sense that Jamie now knows his arsenal is a red pummel, so pummel isn't as great when it's like known. We're gonna swing for 4 here. There is a Channel Mount Heroic. Did he have the blue earth card? Please tell me he has the blue earth card. We're gonna swing for 4, which is getting towards being lethal. It is pretty insane that Jamie has not seen a Channel Mount until, I don't even know what turn this is, turn 12. He does have Gorg Tome, and he does have Earth Amulet, so Lightning Token is going to happen, but we have a Press, and then I don't know what the last card in hand is. Even if it is a blue Earth card, we don't have an attack, so we have to hope Gorg Tome draws us an attack, and then we have a pretty good hand. If only you could pitch from Arsenal. This hand also becomes better as well. So goes to 1, hopes he draws an attack. I don't know what that last card is. Oh, it's a Lightning Surge. Oh, we're fine. Yeah, I'm pretty certain you just have it here. So start with Gorg Tome. Hope you draw an attack. Another attack. Another Channel Mount. Oh, no. We have the pitch for the Channel Mount. Absolutely unreal. Okay, so I think we keep our arsenal and play our hand out. So we pitch the blue earth card for the Channel Mount, get a lightning token. Then we swing the surge, and then we pitch our press for Thorn. The Channel Mount is going to stick around, and then we have a non-attack for next turn for our lightning token, or for half our lightning token. So here's our lightning token. It's so funny to finally get a Channel Mount when you get to 1 life. It is unfortunate this turn isn't very much damage. It's 10 damage, right? Or no, it's 11 damage. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage. So you're stripping some cards, but if Matt can pummel anything with Tunic, that's pretty bad. If Matt can keep 2 cards, he can pummel his Titan's Fist, actually, which is pretty hilarious. Even 1 card is a swing of 4, and so I think Jamie has a grasp block still, and then of course the Tunic block. No draw effect here happening. Matt needs to block. I think you just block. Oh, what's interesting is if you block 3 here and try to take 1, you die to Lightning Press. Unless you have Earth React or use Crown. But even Crown actually isn't enough. You would have to have Earth React or a D-React. So we're giving 2 cards for... Oh, this is a 7, sorry. So Jamie could actually kill him here with the press. I mean, might as well make him have... No, I think Thorn is right. Maybe? I mean, if he doesn't have... Well, I guess he can still Crown and go to 1 there. And then you don't have pitch for Thorn, so I guess this makes sense. So we are going to pitch for... I would assume Crown and Norrune. You unfortunately have to filter that pummel, but I don't think it's happening next turn anyways. Because our Tunic is gone, so it's much worse now, and off curve. So we have 2 floating, we can use 1 for Crown, get another card, and then we could block with one of those cards. I don't know why you wouldn't Crown here. I know Pummel is so enticing of a card to keep, but yes, this definitely makes sense. Pummel is definitely worse when we don't have the curve of adding Tunic to a blue pitch. CNC or something like that, so makes sense to me. And then we are gonna Crown and AB the Arcane, give a card and take nothing, and then if we swing Titan's Fist on our turn, that absolutely takes a card from Jamie, but depending on what Jamie draws, this could just be game, because a Channel Mount that just is there that hopefully gives +6 next turn is pretty wild. We already have half of a lightning token in Arsenal from Jamie's side. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good situation for Jamie, even though you're at 1. But yeah, you definitely can't go to 1 here as Matt. There are so many things you die to. Ooh, that's not great. I would assume he drew that off of the Crown, because you definitely sink below the Lightning Surge if you had that. So there we go. As Matt, you definitely have to swing Titan's Fist here. There's another Channel Mount. I think you just block with it, right? I mean, depends. I can't tell what Jamie's first card is, but I know it's a Snatch, a Channel Mount, and a blue Earthflare Surge. So yeah, Channel Mount block plus Grasp. So on Jamie's turn, he's going to be able to hopefully have go again. Oh, he has the this round's on me. Is that the last card? Yeah, okay. So we pitch blue, play this round's on me, play our arsenal. Then we get to snatch Thorn. We're playing Earthlore. Also fine, I guess. So we play our amulet. Okay. Lightning token, snatch Thorn. Four, 5, 6, 7, go again, and then Thorn. Earn. 10, go again. Did I miss? Oh, Earthlore Surge, of course. Yeah, 10, go again. Plus Thorn. This is probably game. You take 1, Jamie draws a card. And then Thorn is 2 and 2, and you die to Arcane. Yep. There we go. Just goes to show you, you only want to see channel mounts at the end of the game. Just kidding. You definitely, that game would have been over much sooner if we'd seen channel mounts earlier. But Jamie got there. This is, like I mentioned earlier, one life happens pretty often. So definitely don't give up in this game. I think being at one life can be very sad and sometimes hard to overcome, but in this case, like, we got there. So good game to both players. Jamie getting there with the Briars, nice to see after the round 1 where he did not draw very well, and just got out pressured by Viserai. But we'll see here that yeah, we get a nice diverse pool of heroes to take a look at today, diverse matchups. When we had like 6 Guardians, I think, show up. And next week will be the last CC event for this meta before we get to Outsiders. So in 6 days, we're going to actually get to do a pre-release for Outsiders here at the Haven. So this coming Friday, which is going to be exciting because tons of new cards, tons of new tokens, and just fun new stuff to play with. And then we'll have our last Armory for this constructed season before Outsiders next Saturday.
Outsiders.
Outsiders. We should make an intro song.
You'll get caught up in the Outsiders.
We should write that song for the set review we're gonna do for Outsiders and record
James
it.
probably knows what the song I'm singing.
It's
Crossfire.
Crossfire.
You'll get caught up in the
Crossfire and Outsiders. Well, that's going to be it for our Armory today. Thanks for everyone who watched and communicated and chat today. And thanks, AJ, for letting me stream.
Hey. Thank you for streaming.
Of course. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll be back next week, and have a good weekend.